All right. What's up, guys? It's Dominique, aka That Therapist. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the lead clinician and CEO for a group practice known as Yellow Bird Counseling. What is that? What's the Yellow Bird Counseling, you might ask? Well, our normal day-to-day operations include providing individual, couples, family, group therapy for across the lifespan. You know, our youngest client can be as young as 3 or as old as 83. Okay. So providing individual, group, family, couples therapies in several different states. I don't have an updated list. That's why I just keep saying several different states, but mainly in the state of Alabama, right? That's what we do with our normal day-to-day activities. But what do we do here on social media? Well, social media is a teeny tiny little bit different, but not for real. We present live topics that the general population can relate to and tie it back to how all of us, including me, right, could use a therapist outside of simply having a mental illness. Because y'all know how y'all be thinking, right? Oh, something got to be wrong with me in order for me to seek a therapist. Oh, therapy don't work. Oh, all these excuses y'all got for not taking care of your mental health. So I have to educate you on reasons you may not have considered that mental health treatment could actually benefit you and nothing has to be quote unquote wrong with you, right? So, that's what we do here every Thursday evening, starting at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 6 p.m. Pacific, which is 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I got him, right? So that is what we do. And so this month I was like, with all the social media shit going on, for lack of a better phrase, right? For all the social media shit going on and all the shit that be going on, I was like, let me add a little bit of education to it all. Y'all know I'm going to come through with the education. I'm going to come through with the definition. I'm going to come through with some peer-reviewed sources, statistics, things of that nature, right? So this month I decided that I wanted to really hit on the role of technology, media, interwebs on our mental health, right? So a few years ago, when everything started becoming maybe in some cases a little more apparent as far as how social media impacts us, right? So we did unpack the social dilemma last week. We unpacked that last week and talked about social media's direct role in harvesting our attention, right? With very small, subtle successions in our behavior, eliciting a succession in our behavioral changes in order for us to become an appropriate product by harvesting our attention. And we discussed and broke down how our attention is being harvested. And basically, it's just really not safe, guys. And I know y'all think I'm overreacting, but in 20 years, you're going to be like, you wish you would have listened to me, maybe even sooner than that, because of the detriment that media, AI, and technology has played on our mental health for basically the purpose of profit. Basically, the purpose of profit. So I watched that documentary. Then behind it, I became aware of another documentary that directly talks about how it kind of expands on what we talked about last week as far as how does social media harvest our attention. Thank you. Yes, y'all, if y'all could, please tap these heart me's up here when you come in. If you could, just tap these orange heart me's. Please, y'all, share the live. If everybody shared to like 3 friends and did like a 20-second power tap, we would be in there like swimwear. So just 3 friends, 20-second power tap will be good. All right. Then you can chill and then hit that heartbeat and then we can chill. We'll be good. Right. This is good information. I just want to be sure that it gets out there, right, for people to consider it. Thank you so much. I appreciate the gifts. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the gifts. Sorry, y'all, over here. I'm like on different platforms, and so this one is a little bit more interactive, just a tiny bit. So, all right. So anyways, I came across the second documentary as I was speaking on the first documentary. And it kind of expands, it goes a little deeper than just social media. Because we thought it could stop there, but actually no. It seems as though AI technology and well, we'll say that the opinions of the few, right? The opinions of the majority few have infiltrated our artificial intelligence in a way that it now mirrors us as human beings in a very sophisticated way, right? So what does that mean, that therapist? What are you saying? You're just saying a bunch of words. All right, well, let's break it down. I got y'all. So basically, in short, I want you to watch the documentary. It's super good. One, because, God, I didn't grab the girl's name. Hold on, let me grab it. I need to grab that girl's name. I don't want to just call her a young Black woman. I want to call her name. So let's see. I wanted to get her name. I forgot to get it when I was rewatching the documentary. Her first name is Joy. Oh, I can't even say her last name anyway. Joy Balamwini. I don't even think that's right, but it's Buolamwini. I am not quite sure. But it sounds like I don't know. But I don't know, because I don't know. I can't pronounce it, so I'm not going to make any assumptions. Those of you that may be in that particular be from that particular country of origin maybe can say what that last name is. But Joy, from what I can read, Balamwini, okay, right? Who was a media, let's see, MIT Media Lab researcher, right? That's what she did. Just casually, well, not casually, but kind of like for school, doing a research project where the students had to create some sort of artificial intelligence that maybe could be impractical other than for the purposes of the class, right? So what Joy's idea was let me create, this will be a perfect time for me to create a mirror, like an affirming mirror, okay, to where she could look into that mirror with her own facial recognition and the images that she loads in it. Like she might have had a picture of a lion to superimpose her face, or a picture of Serena Williams, just pictures of things that she considered to be strong, right? But when she built her, I guess, AI, I'll just say that, when she built her AI, it wasn't working correctly for her. What she noticed is when she would try to put her own face, sorry, y'all. What she noticed is when she would try to put her own face in the facial recognition component of her AI in order to unlock it for herself, it wouldn't work. Like it just wouldn't work. Now, mind you, she is well, I don't know if she's African American, but she's a black woman, right? But what she did notice is that she got one of those white masks, like a mime, like the mask that mimes wear. And when she would put that over her face in order to unlock her mirror, her AI mirror, it worked. When it was her face, it wasn't recognizable. When she put the white mask over her face, recognizable, right? So like you could watch it on there. Like she'll just like her face denied, white mask, access granted. Her face denied, white face, access granted. You're seeing, and it's like, what is that about? She wanted to know too. Which spearheaded her launch of researching different biases in AI technology, right? Starting with, well, I don't know if, it would be starting with, because her direct project had to do with facial recognition. So, I guess the spearheader of that type of technology would be Amazon facial recognition that has been utilized in police surveillance. And I don't know where it is currently today with it, because again, this is like 4 years old. But what was going on is that Amazon recognition was being used for several different avenues. One mainly being police surveillance, right? So this is very troubling. Can anybody guess why this could be troubling? Just from what I've shared, can you kind of guess where we're about to go? Can y'all guess? If y'all can't, just say that. I'm gonna still give you the information, but I'm just like, are your wheels turning? Are you getting it? Are you understanding? Are you let's keep going. Basically, to expand on what we talked about last week, the concern that those social media executives had from Google, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok, their major concern is that there is no regulation on how we utilize and how AI is utilized in technology, media, and interaction with the public. Now, y'all might have remembered Nosy saying that a couple weeks ago about how she wishes that there would be more internet regulation. Well, we're about to see, not only from what we talked about last week as far as social media harvesting our attention, playing on our vulnerabilities for the sheer purpose of getting us to engage, right, for extended periods of time, so that we can become a product to whoever is purchasing us, right? And we discussed that it's really kind of unsafe, if you think about it, for yourself and your family to be utilizing social media without having clinical treatment in place, your own therapist, because again, the subtle changes that it causes to your behavior, you're not going to notice until it's too late. Just like gaslighting, right? Your reality is subtly being altered, thus your opinions being altered, thus your perspective being altered by subtle successions in change of behavior or in subliminal messaging that is used to kind of guide our social media engagement, if that makes sense. Look at that, 46 shares. Can y'all give me the 20K likes? But can y'all do that? We're about to talk about how scary AI is getting, right? And this was 4 years ago. So if AI technology can learn human behavior in just as little as 16 hours and become corrupt, think of how much more corrupt it's probably become in the past 4 years since this documentary was published or issued or whatever, right? Think of that. But there's just simply no FDA equivalent for algorithmic function, which is very, very destructive. Why is that destructive? What are some, let me start here. Who do you think creates, right, these programs in order for AI technology to run? Who do you think initially are the main people that provide us with any IT, Silicon Valley, any of that? Who do you think you would mostly see there? What kind of person might you mostly see there? You right, but what kind of YT people though? It's a specific kind of YT person. Who? Y'all are onto it. Who though? But who? What kind of YT person? Okay. Right. Thank you, Lika. Pew, pew, pew. White men. And like we talked about last week, algorithmic function is a compilation of subjective opinions. So what do you think could be the problem with utilizing a sample set of YT men's opinions to guide the function of AI, to guide the operations, to guide the knowledge, the intelligence that machines and technology are receiving? What could be the detrimental part of that if all they have to go on is the opinion of the YT man? Can y'all think? Put your thinking caps on. Y'all drop the thinking cap emote in the chat, please. Drop the thinking cap emote in the chat. Well, I'm going to tell you. Then essentially what's going to happen is AI is going to think and run like a YT man. The problem with that is it picks up behaviors that maybe even the YT man didn't even mean to put in there, like an implicit bias about Black people, right? About Black being bad, white being good. That's an inherent thought process that many YT men have that they may not even be aware of. But because AI is so sophisticated, it's going to pick up on your biases and it's going to code for those biases, right? For example, who was it? Microsoft created some AI technology, and I don't know if it was like a robot or just like an artificial intelligence program, right? But when they created this AI apparatus, we'll just call it apparatus, known by the name of Tay, it was shut down 16 hours later because after studying human interaction for just 16 hours, right? And studying thought processes and human cognition, this AI gathered up all that information and turned out to be the most misogynistic, racist, ageist, ableist AI technology around. So much so, they had to shut it down. You will have to look at it and just hear some of the things that the AI was saying, like some pretty In the words of Nosy, demonstrative, right? Some very demonstrative things, right? So definitely watch the documentary so you can hear what Tay was repeating back after just 16 hours of studying human interaction, right? And human cognitions and even unspoken biases that humans have, right? That they're exhibiting without even knowing it, right? So that's one example, but it gets even deeper than that because AI has been used to implement, has been used to help with processes such as hiring, for denial and acceptance, application, like denial and acceptance for work applications, college applications, insurance, things of that nature. So AI has been integrated into all institutions of our lives now. And so if you're somebody that the AI does not favor, then the results that the AI spits out for you could also not be favorable. Those are the only things that kind of seem to be, well, not only, but that's a negative part of the consistency of AI. So going back to Amazon a little bit more before we get into the United Healthcare. Y'all may have heard about it, but basically Amazon was utilizing AI technology in order to help them to go through the application process. Thousands of applications. They needed a way to get through those effectively. So they utilized AI technology to scan the applications for initial, hiring process. What they came to find out was a lot of the applications that were being denied were women. They were women, right? Because again, going back to who started the coding of AI and the perpetual building on to the initial knowledge that the AI gained, more YT man ideologies. So the AI is reflecting back to us our human thought and behavior. So YT man and then woman under that. Of course, everybody else too, but like in this example, man, of course, would have been coded to be better than woman, right? It's a little bit more in depth than that, but I do want y'all to watch the documentary. And so when it would scan applications for women or anything that identified an applicant as woman, it would automatically deny them. But whenever it would scan an application for a man, it would accept them, right? Regardless of their skill set, regardless of their ability to perform, simply because it was man and woman. The same also appeared in Apple Credit. Actually, one of the executives of Apple is the one who found that out, right? So him and his wife both applied for the same type of crediting. He was actually approved for, I think it was upwards to like $100,000 more than his wife, when they have no separate assets and they have no separate accounts. And all of their crediting information is the same, right? So he noticed, why did I get approved for such a substantial amount of money more than my wife? Which launched the investigation for Apple having also coded biases of sexism, just like Amazon, right? So these are issues, these are problems that we encounter every day without even knowing. It even gets worse than that. But before we get into it any deeper, any questions, comments, concerns? Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all click on that subscription star, please. Click on the subscription star so you don't lose your subscriptions. If you're able, please extend your subscription. Thank you. Also, for those of you that are not aware, this Cash App goal is for our internship program, right? To help facilitate sessions for people who could not otherwise afford them, that would like to continue on with their mental health treatment, even though the therapist has graduated and has to now be paid for their services. Remember, our interns service low income, unhoused, or people in difficult financial situations. So our live goal is always 2 sessions. Right now, we've got 16 total sessions paid for. And if we clear this Cash App goal, that'll be 18 total sessions paid for. And that'll be 18 sessions that I can issue out to people in need. But also remember, the people that do receive the funding for our sessions, they are also, the therapist will also be working with them to eliminate or as best mitigate any mental health reasons that their financial could be in the position that they're in. Oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes, there is some mental health connection to why a person's finances are the way they are. Not all the time. Sometimes, though, there are. I'm talking to you if you're able-bodied. I'm talking to you if you don't have a mental illness that limits your ability to be able to work. And even with that, we would want to see improvement there. But there are lots of other reasons besides somebody being disabled or not being able to have employment. Some people are very much employed and in difficult financial situations. And sometimes, not all the time, the reasoning for that could very much be a mental health reason, such as lack of boundaries, right? Such as impulse control, right? Such as feelings of guilt, shame, right? Those are things that can very much impact the way that you spend your money, right? So with that, if we're going to be assisting people financially, we want to help them gain the ultimate goal of autonomy, right? Which is independence. So if you would like to join in this effort, $2, $5, $10, $15, $100, whatever you can do, feel free to donate to the Cash App. You'll put in the for portion session donation. And if you want to donate anonymously, you'll just put for session donation anonymous, and I won't say your name. That way you can give charitably in peace. If you are somebody that gives a substantial amount of money and needs documentation from my accountant on what you've given so that you can write it off on your taxes, all you have to do is click the email link in my bio, and I will get my accountant to get that to you. Right? So if you feel so inclined to help somebody maintain their mental health that may not have otherwise been able to, feel free to donate to the Cash App. The easiest way to do that is to click the link in the bio, right? Click the link in our bios on all social media platforms. Click the link in our bio. Click on the first link. It says donate a session Cash App link, right? And then you can just put the amount in there and click send. But remember, if you want to donate anonymously, it's for session donation anonymous. If you want me to shout you out, just put for session donation and I'll shout you out. Thank you so much in advance for anybody who is able to donate to the effort. I will be checking those later on at the end of the live. Okay. All right. So I have a lot of notes here and I'm trying to build them up for y'all. So, okay. Let's see. Again, please check your subscriptions. Everybody click on that subscription star. And if it gives you the option to extend your subscription, please do so. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. All right. So let's continue. So we have biases, right? Or outright opinions that are not equitable, that are being used to code the information that our AI is using to code for observation, assessment of our behavior is super biased, but we hide these biases behind mathematical logic and try to equate what we're seeing mathematically to unflawed logic, which just simply isn't the case, because the people that developed AI technology are not perfect. They're just white men. That's all. They're just white men, not perfect. But nobody's going to question what a machine says, because machines are supposed to be more accurate than what we as humans think, right? We're always going to say, well, the machine said it, so it must have been right. Let's not do that. Let's not, because who developed that machine? Where did the machine get its information from? Did the machine get its information from somebody that looked like me, or somebody who not only is different from me, but also opposes me, right? Let's think. All right. So with that being said, we can see very easily how AI technology is impacting our important areas of our life, right? The algorithm can be very destructive and harmful, because again, it is coded by the opinions of the majority few white men, right? And the even worse part about that is whatever, like, so I think that they were saying that the initial AI technology was created by maybe like a group of YT students, YT male students at Dartmouth University in about I want to say it was like 1957 or somewhere around in there, a long ass time ago before I was born. And what happens is, the knowledge that it has now is only growing on the historical information that AI technology had initially. So it's not reforming, it's perpetuating whatever the biases are that have been coded in AI technology. So unless things are recoded, which it is possible, but does that necessarily work towards capitalism? Does that necessarily work towards the whole goal of the US to keep a racial caste system in place, to keep a gender-based caste system in place? Like, it doesn't really benefit people to change it if it's already working the way that the entire ecosystem that they're around is designed to function. So it will take pushback, lots of pushback, in order for AI technology to be coded in a more equitable manner, as opposed to, I can't think of words, as opposed to a disproportionate favoring, right, of one group over the other, in this case, i.e. YT men, right? So let's get down to it. We were talking about the surveillance, right? So surveillance, oftentimes, because of the way America works, don't we love her, right? They're going to test out artificial intelligence surveillance measures in low-income communities where the rights of the people are, frankly, just not cared about. You're not going to see them testing out surveillance technology in a high-income, mostly white area, because those people, in the eyes of the government, deserve more privacy, deserve more permission, deserve whatever they deserve. But you want to test out your surveillance, you're going to take it to a low-income, predominantly BIPOC area, where the government at large already doesn't care about our human rights. So for low-income BIPOC people's human rights to be infringed on, the government doesn't care about that. So that's exactly what happened in Brooklyn, New York. In a particular apartment complex, they started not only implementing like they already had like a key system that would already read that you would have to use like a fob system, but then they wanted to implement facial recognition as well, right? So basically turning it into Fort Knox, 2 locking systems on to get in and out of their dwellings in this apartment complex. And the residents were really confused. They're like, why would you have this sophisticated technology in this low income area? Well, again, it reflects how the government at large sees people in these areas as not. Thank you for the subscription. Welcome to the Trap Nest emotes. Welcome to the Trap Nest emotes. It's the Welcome to the Trap Nest emotes. Welcome to the Trap Nest emotes. All right, drop them. Welcome to the Trap Nest emotes. Okay. Thank you so much for your subscription. Appreciate you. So yeah, the residents were like, well, why would you do that? Again, the care and concern for BIPOC low-income people is a lot lower than white people that are middle class or upper middle class or wealthy, right? It just is. So they could get away with infringing on human rights a lot easier in a low-income BIPOC area than they could in a YT higher income area. We'll just say that. And the AI technology reflected that. They had so many issues, not even here, but also in the UK, with inaccurate matchings of individuals who are wanted. So they were disproportionately seeing that more BIPOC people were matched with innocent people, matched with people who are wanted, the facial recognition of someone who is wanted, right? And so 28 is for something else, similar, but not this. So several people were being incarcerated or taken into custody who were innocent, who were not the person that they were looking for, simply because, again, the biases encoded in AI technology, more specifically for this example, facial recognition or YT men. So if you're coding into that, Black men are more dangerous, Black men are more likely to X, Y, and Z. If they're coding that in with spoken or unspoken biases, the machine is performing the way that it was developed to perform, right? And innocent people's lives will be changed behind it. Yeah. AI, what it's doing is it's a decision-making algorithm for us. So it is constantly taking account of every unspoken and spoken action, thought, and perception that we feed into it, right? But it's not a we that's feeding into it. Again, it's a small group of YT men that are feeding into it, and their cultural competency is super limited because why? They don't have to look beneath them. The country and the globe at large already caters to them, so they have no reason to look beneath them at people like me, people like maybe you, right? And so with that, we're at a disproportionate disadvantage, right? We call this digital discrimination. Let's look that up. I wanted to look that up with y'all. Digital discrimination. Y'all tap the screen, share the live if you don't mind. Thank you. But I really want to do this. Aha. All right. The definition of digital discrimination. Digital discrimination is not a problem of intent. It is a problem of drastically unequal digital opportunities and outcomes. Understand that digital discrimination involves more than just discriminating broadband deployment, but also discrimination in broadband adoption, broadband affordability, and the actual use of broadband. Okay. So the whole concept of broadband, right, encapsulates digital discrimination. Understand that digital discrimination. Oh wait, I already read that part. I meant to read this part. Okay. So so there is a concept of there's a policy to theoretical policy to try to decrease digital discrimination. The statement of the policy to avert digital discrimination attempts to guarantee that all communities, regardless of income level, race, ethnicity, color, religion, or national origin, will be available and affordable broadband internet access when the federal grant expires. Okay, so that's more of a grant for like access to broadband. But in any case, the digital discrimination happens algorithmically, generally. All right. So, man, damn, I had some clips I wanted to play, but I'm using my other phone. Damn. Okay. Well, hold on. I wanted to play a couple of the clips from the documentary. And I wanted to play the one about the recidivism, right? Algorithm. I wanted to play a story about that because that really hits home. Thank you. Wait. Oh, yes. Thank you all for tapping. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. All right. So let me see if I can pull this up. So this, and for those of you that aren't aware of the term recidivism, it's like a D and a V right there. Like recidivism is the reincarceration rate. Okay. So hold on, guys. I'm pulling it up. I got you. I don't know if y'all can hear this. Okay, y'all can't hear it. The sound is terrible. Sorry. So basically, it's a young woman who her parole officer increased the amount of time that she had to show up, and based off of no fault of this young woman's own behavior, like had been employed, whatever, the confines of her probation, where I'm saying parole is parole or probation, I think whichever one she was. Okay, that's not necessarily the most important part. The most important part is that AI technology, the recidivism algorithm, is what was placed before the judge, and based on what the computer says about her, she is a higher risk because she's a Black woman, right? Because that's what's coded in the recidivism. Gotta say it slow. Recidivism algorithm, that Black people are more of a risk, that they're more, insert whatever negative legal term you can. as opposed to white people. So there is a disproportion of Black people being incarcerated or even having stricter sentences because, because of this recidivism algorithm. Okay. I know, right? It's so hard to say. You learned a new word. Which one? Recidivism? Oh yeah, there's evidence that they use it all the time. I'm just breaking down like TikTok. Absolutely. I'm just breaking it down for us in more simplistic terms, but definitely. Absolutely. Y'all share this live. Tap the screen, share the live if this is good to you. Okay. If you're learning something and you feel like you learned something you ain't learned before, you're able, go ahead and contribute to the gift goal as well. If you're able, I just got this little cute little hand heart gift goal right here. If you feel so inclined, if you have it, if this information is helpful to you, if you feel engaged with it, if you're learning something, then go on ahead and contribute to the gift goal. Thank you. I don't want to miss any of my notes for y'all. I want you to have them all. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so I was talking about that young lady. And so based on that, it's like she felt like everything, thank you. It's like she felt like everything that she worked for was for nothing, all because despite the knowledge that the attorneys had, despite the knowledge the judge has and all that, didn't even matter because they were only going to go solely based on the recidivism algorithm in order to issue sentencing or issue any further legal action or legal engagement or involvement, right? Which could have ultimately, if this lady was ordered to see her probation officer more often than not and has a full-time job, that could put her in a risky situation, because if she has to go visit with this person as opposed to working the hours she's supposed to be working, that puts her at risk for losing a job, which then puts her at risk for whatever probably initially got her there if it was of her own behavior, right? And even not, she could become a criminal solely because the system had put her in that position by assigning guilt, blame, and risk to her solely based on her skin color and maybe even gender. Let's look up algorithmic oppression. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about algorithmic oppression. I'm going to look up the definition so we can go over that. I did want to look up the definition of algorithmic oppression. All right, so what is algorithmic oppression? Oh, and for those of y'all that don't know, Wikipedia is now a .org, okay? It's way more sophisticated than when it first came out, and it actually has to be peer-reviewed research that goes into publishing information in Wikipedia now. For those of you that didn't know it, it's now a .org, okay? Algorithms of Oppression is a text based on 6 years. Wait a minute, that's a book. What is algorithmic oppression, though? Algorithms of Oppression is still a text based on over 6 years of academic research on Google search algorithms examining search results from 2009 to 2015. The book addresses the relationship between search engines and discrimination biases. And I want y'all to know what's the definition of it. There is a lot of .orgs coming up for this. All right, here it is. This is a better, let me pull up this article. This is better. All right. All right. So it is a book, but also, damn, that's not exactly what I was looking for. But basically, you get it. It's digital. Okay. So basically, what I'm trying to sum it up for y'all. Algorithmic oppression is digital decisions that are reinforced by social biases. Okay. So any social biases that are being reinforced algorithmically would be an example of algorithmic oppression, simply put. Okay. And that's important if you're a woman, if you're disabled, if you're Black, if you're in the LGBTQIA plus community. Do you see how algorithmic oppression could put you at a disadvantage, especially if the creators of that algorithm are completely opposite of you and don't even look like you? There was also another example of how algorithmic oppression was happening in the school system. So there's a particular type of software that schools were using to implement a scoring system or like an evaluation system for their teachers. But again, because I can't remember the name of the software. Y'all have to watch the documentary to get it. But basically, it was AI technology used to do annual, quarterly evaluations for teachers. And just based on however the AI was able to differentiate the race, color, gender of its teachers, people were getting fired. There was, and solely based on what AI says, because again, we can't question a machine. If the machine said it, it must be right. Well, in one school district, they had the wherewithal to say, no, this is a great teacher. Why is it giving him such a low score? To the point where a lawsuit had been filed against the developers of that particular evaluation plan because several people had lost their jobs unjustly solely because of the biases coded in AI technology of that particular evaluation. Icky. Imagine losing your job because the computer said so. Not even because of your own performance, just because the computer said so. Imagine how you might feel, right? We talked about that. Oh, let's talk about United Healthcare. The United Healthcare suffered some really crazy smoke a few years ago behind the fact that there was research, a study done that showed that United Healthcare, also their algorithm had coded biases where it would disproportionately award more medical treatment to healthier white patients than it would to sicker Black patients. Basically, sicker Black patients were not awarded the same medical assistance that healthier white counterparts were, because that was a bias coded in the algorithm used to determine the underwriting for the insurance plans for United Healthcare members. Ooh, who holds a United Healthcare policy? I had just gotten the United Healthcare policy. Back then I had Blue Cross Blue Shield now, but I had just gotten a United Healthcare policy. And baby, I had canceled that policy right after. Literally, I got the policy probably days or weeks before I saw that. Because what the fuck is it going to do to benefit me, right? Let's see. Yeah. What kind of questions y'all got? Well, guess what? It made because it was a big thing. So I'm sure that after the investigation was done by the insurance powers that be, right? The insurance coalition or whoever. It's not the coalition. It's like the government. I can't think of the name right off. Is it not coalition? But like the big insurance governing body, like if there's some sort of insurance, and not MPES, not okay. Anyways, I can't think of the name right now. Okay. But that governing body may have, because of that, things may have changed. Again, this is a little old, but the good part of that is maybe some things have changed. The bad part of that is maybe some things got worse. So yeah, basically coded biases have been injected into the AI technology that we use in a very systemic way. Education, healthcare, employment, finances. So the infiltration of these biases in AI technology is going to negatively impact the lives of several Americans, many Americans, more specifically BIPOC and BIPOC men and women, disabled people, and the like. So it's kind of dangerous. It's very important for us to be aware what we're interacting with, why we're interacting for it, and what kind of information it's grabbing from us, right? But fear not, Joy B, we'll just call her Joy B for now, came up with the idea of the Algorithmic Justice League, right? So this is a group of IT superheads, right, that get together and basically their social justice plight is to go into places like Microsoft, like Apple, like Google, and break down with research how their algorithms can negatively impact the lives of the people who are using them. At the end of the documentary, Joy B was actually invited to speak before Congress to make them aware of the detriment that AI technology is causing for women and people of color. Okay. But it just doesn't stop there. I'm sure that it definitely extends to disabled people, older people, maybe younger people, just depending on what it is. But the two main biases that are largely outlined in the documentary is like sexism and racism. Okay. So if you're a person of color, or if you're not a man, it would benefit you to watch. I mean, if you're a person of color and you're not a man, or you're not a man, it would benefit you to watch. Also, the scary thing is, y'all, it talked about the 2010 and the 2016 election, and how the study. So Facebook did an experiment for the 2010, right, elections, and saw that they could sway voters' opinions by implementing different images into God, y'all, I can't think. The advertisement that was being put out about the election, right? I was gonna play that too, but I don't think y'all will be able to hear it. Let me see if we can hear it so that I don't get it wrong. But I want y'all to understand how widely and how deeply algorithmic biases impact us on a day-to-day basis. So let me.
In 2010, Facebook decided to experiment on 61 million people.
So in 2010, Facebook decided to experiment on 61 million people.
On Selection Day text, where you saw the same text, but tiny thumbnails of your profile pictures of your friends who had clicked on I had voted. And they matched people's names to voter rolls. Now this method was shown once. So by showing a slight variation, just once, Facebook moved 300,000 people to the polls.
So not only did Facebook move 300,000 people to the polls just from showing them this one image, but also
2016 U.S. election was decided by about 100,000 votes. One Facebook message shown just once could easily turn out 3 times the number of people who swung the U.S. election in 2016.
Basically, as a result of that, it was 100,000 people that swung the 2016 election, right? And just based on what Facebook, the 2010, what they released in the 2010 study that they did, social media has the capability, Facebook more specifically, to swing voter, the way that people vote solely by showing them an image one time.
Let's say that there's a politician that's promising to regulate Facebook, and they are like, we are going to turn out extra voters for your opponent. They could do this at scale, and you'd have no clue, because if Facebook hadn't disclosed the 2010 experiment, we had no idea, because it's screen by screen. With a very light touch, Facebook can sway close elections without anybody noticing. Maybe with a heavier touch, they can sway not so close elections. And she
said with a heavier touch, Facebook could probably sway elections that are not so close, right? Maybe showing that very same image 2 or 3 times to turn out that many more voters and the direction that they want people to vote in. Because again, if we go back to what we were talking about last week, AI for social media has been designed to extract our attention and make changes in the way that we believe and perceive things, right? So they're also doing that by way of the election. So y'all need to read and don't just be doing everything on social media, okay? Because images that you see one time are turning out at least 300,000 more voters than they would if that one image had not been shown to 61 million people, right? Scary, guys. I'm scared. I'm afraid. Do y'all see how detrimental this could be to us as just the human race? Do y'all? What do we do practically to combat this? I would say let's start with our own self-awareness, making sure that we're aware and making sure that our lives are balanced as best we can. So I would say for my battle cry, I guess, is that we all go to therapy. And with the knowledge that you've gained, how does that apply to you as an individual, right? How can you develop more self-awareness so that you're not sucked into or negatively influenced by it as much as you can control it, right? Because this is a systemic problem. And definitely if you are an IT person looking into the collaboration and development of the Algorithmic Justice League. But at the very least, if you're somebody like me who's not a tech head, definitely seeking out therapy so that you can build your own self-awareness, so at least you know how you're being impacted, right? Because in therapy, it does the same thing. A therapist can see things that you might not can see, right? From an unbiased perspective. And so there may be things about your own behavior that you don't realize are problematic until someone points them out to you. So it's very important that in your therapy sessions, you are sharing what is your interaction on social media and the internet at large, especially with internet gaming disorder being a new DSM diagnosis that we'll talk about. We talked about briefly last week, but we'll talk about next week in more depth. Okay. So right now, practically, if you're not a tech person, definitely don't be using this technology without the help of your therapist, and also educating yourself on how AI technology is directly related to your own like hiring and firing systems of your own job the best you can. It's not like they're going to just turn out all that information to you, but as best you can, I'm just telling you where you can look. HR departments, that's going to be a big challenge. A lot of biases in different HR departments and HR frameworks. Yeah. The whole point of this is like, listen, if we are being made a product of, then we at least need to build awareness, because we need to know how it's impacting us. And maybe if we can mitigate usage in any way, or if we can fight against usage in any way. I'm also sharing this so if things like that are happening in your area, like exactly maybe where to start or who to talk to. This is why it's so important just to vote for representatives who have that voice for you, because again, this is a systemic problem. Okay. Because AI far expands beyond social media, but also, like I said, into our financial institutions, government institutions, right? All examples of those are given in this documentary. So stay woke. But definitely see a therapist. If you don't really want to stay woke, definitely see a therapist to talk to them about how to navigate the biases that you may encounter as a woman or person of color in the United States based on AI technology and how it's been coded, right? That was a good question, though. What other questions do y'all have? Any other questions? Y'all, please click the subscription star down there so that you can extend your subscription if you're able. Thank you. What other questions do y'all have? Any questions over here? That was just a very brief, kind of brief. It goes in way more detail than that, but I wanted to bring light to the things that may stick out to most of us. All right. So again, next week we're going to go into the addiction. Again, all of this not only is the purpose of this series is not only to bring you awareness to what's going on with all of our usage of social media. Even we pick up our phone for facial recognition, right? But also ways that because you do use technology and social media, that you may want to include your therapist in that in order to help you cope with, mitigate, and get through situations that directly impact you by way of social media and artificial intelligence at large. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns. Questions, comments, concerns. What y'all think? What y'all think? What y'all think? What y'all think? All right. Well, like I said, next week we'll be back to expand on gaming addiction, and from that perspective, we'll talk more about that new DSM diagnosis, and we'll be back next week. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good weekend.